All right, so today we got Spurs versus Wolves, games 1 and 2 recap. I picked the Spurs to win in 6. I'm still holding with my prediction, although it could go 7 depending on the health of the Timberwolves. I just personally don't think they're healthy right now. What I saw in game 1 is both teams came out very just locked in on the defensive end. They didn't want to give up any easy buckets. I think we saw 3 straight consecutive blocks between Gobert and Wemby, as it was just nothing easy at the rim, really, for either team the whole entire game. But definitely from the start, you felt the intensity. You felt how much each team wanted to kind of make sure they took away the easy stuff and made it hard on the opposing team. I personally feel like in the playoffs, you have to have a mid-range scorer. If you don't have a mid-range scorer, offense can become very tough to come by. You need people that can operate in that mid-range because, like I said, teams are trying to take away layups. They're trying to take away wide-open threes. So you need a guy that can operate in the mid-range if you want to win at the highest level. The matchup that I thought I was going to see in game 1 was Julius Randle taking the bulk of the Wemby minutes, but it was actually Gobert, and Gobert did a pretty good job. I think Wemby came out and he was pressing. I think he was trying to really force the issue, and they had a little layoff, so he may have been a little antsy in front of the home crowd. He didn't have his best offensive game, but I think that's also due to how good of a defender Gobert is. And I'm one of Gobert's probably biggest haters. I've routinely tweeted on Twitter how I don't think he's playable in the playoffs because of his offensive or lack thereof of an offensive bag and his free throw shooting, and then how well he guards on the perimeter when teams go small. But he proved really valuable in game 1. He made it tough on Wemby. He didn't give up anything easy. He was protecting the rim. Rudy Gobert played pretty well. And as far as the flip side, I think Ant looked good. He didn't look all the way like himself as far as his explosiveness and his movement, but he hyperextended his knee 9 days before the game. Like, you can't expect him to move like he is. And I think that going forward is going to be something to monitor, whether he's up or down, is if that knee is either getting better or worse. But I thought he got to his spots. He made a couple shots. You could tell it was a lot of adrenaline for him, and he wasn't really worried about the knee. I think later in the game, he went and got a layup, and he came up kind of gimpy. So that was something to keep an eye on. But the whole game was back and forth. It was a defensive battle. It was fun to see. I wish there's something we got a little bit more in the regular season. I think the score was like 45-45 or something crazy like that at halftime. And it's like, if this is a regular season game, the score is probably 70-67. And you just love the intensity of playoff basketball, which that's why we all watch it, like to see the best of the best compete. But I thought during the game, I thought Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle didn't look like they were new to this. They looked like they were used to this. What did shock me was some of the decisions that De'Aaron Fox, as a veteran and he's been in the playoffs before, it shocked me some of the decisions that he was making. But Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle, they definitely looked like they were used to this atmosphere and that they were ready for it. So credits to them and the coaching staff over there in San Antonio. They look really good. And then on the flip side, Mike Conley got traded again, then got cut and then back it up in Minnesota. He started off the game, I think he hit three threes like in the first half. He gave you everything you needed from that point guard spot, especially with Ant coming off the bench. So that was really good to see. But as we got down the stretch, you saw a couple of where the youth kind of came in from both sides, really, because even though the Timberwolves have been there, they are still a pretty young team. So you saw a couple of possessions where it's like they could have got something better, or they could have passed it here. But all that to say, Minnesota's up by 2. Julius Randle takes a contested mid-range pull after Wemby kind of fakes the double, but then sits and helps, so he can't get all the way to the rim. And I'm not mad at Randle for the shot because he had been operating there pretty much the entire games, and he was killing. He looked good from there. So in the game 1, you could say, oh, Miss Johnson should have called a timeout, but at the end of the day, they got a great look. It was wide open after the pump fake, one dribble, pull up. It was wide open. It was a little short. He did knock it down, and the Spurs go down 1-0, which I didn't think they played that great. And moving on to game 2, you could tell the Spurs had a different type of fire to come out. Obviously, it being their home court. They already lost home court by losing game 1, so you knew they didn't want to go back to Minnesota down 0-2. So they just came out, and it was kind of all Spurs from the jump. Minnesota didn't look like they had a lot of life. Also, I think Anthony Edwards' knee it looked like he just doesn't look like himself. He was bothered a little bit more. They kind of sped Julius Randle up a little bit more, which caused him to take some of those tougher shots, which he's capable of making, but he was taking more and more of those. Obviously, Minnesota couldn't get anything going at the rim, but the Spurs, they were locked in defensively. They forced Minnesota's guards into really tough shots, and you had like TJ Shannon pulling up for 3, which that's not really his game just yet. It could become his game, but the Spurs were putting a lot of ball pressure. They were picking up full court sometimes. They were in the passing lanes. They did a lot of good things to kind of suffocate the Minnesota offense. So game 2, it looked like what you would think it would. The Spurs came out and wanted to kind of right the ship after losing game 1. So where games 3 and 4, you're about to see the biggest adjustment series-wise as it shifts to Minnesota. I think we'll see a little bit more small ball from the Wolves trying to pull Wemby out to the perimeter. I could also see them going with more movement things, more balls, getting him on the ball to get him out of the paint. I can see that adjustment coming from the Wolves. I could also see an adjustment of trying to differ the defenders that guard Wemby. So this possession being Rudy, this possession being Julius, this possession being Jaden McDaniels, to try to just keep him guessing as to how to attack this specific defender. So I think those are the adjustments the Timberwolves can make. And then on the flip side, the Spurs, it's really just going to come down to their decision making. How many turnovers? You don't want to let Minnesota get out and run. You want to make them play against your half-court defense and let Wemby get set under the basket, guarding Gobert, and protecting the rim. So I think the adjustment for them is just going to be really just making sure they take care of the ball, putting the emphasis on taking care of the ball, and going forward. Also, Stephon Castle is going to have to continue to be aggressive if they're going to guard him the way they've been guarding him. But overall, like I said, I think we're in for a great series. I think it goes 6. I think we come back to San Antonio 2-2, and then I think San Antonio will take Game 5 and Game 6. But we shall see. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back after Games 3 and 4.